Okay.
Now, is there music in your family? How did you find your way into music? Singing in the choir as a child? Your parents were in the choir, stuff like that?
You know, my mother was a singer. Her nickname was Sing because she sang all the time, and everybody saw her coming. They knew she was singing when she came around them. So when I was born, she was very young, and she sang to me all the time. So by the time I went to school at 4 years old, I had a whole repertoire of songs. And once they found that out in school, they made me sing, for every event that came along.
So there is singing in your family. So it wasn't a surprise to your family when you began to sing.
No, my mother knew that I was going to be a singer. And my father actually sang too. But I didn't spend a whole lot of time with him in the early part of my life. He wasn't around in the early part of my life. But when I did meet up with him as a teenager, I found out that he was a trombone player. And he was a Charlie Parker fan. So he made me listen to Charlie Parker and told me that Charlie Parker was the greatest musician of all time.
How did you take a decision on which instrument you will focus on, and how's that fared over the year?
Well, it was my stepfather who taught me to play the ukulele first when I was 7 years old. And when I was 9, I learned to play the guitar. And my career got off the ground very fast because people started calling me, for events all over the place.
Suddenly you introduce not just you introduce vocal into your music, going beyond just being an instrumentalist.
Oh, that was wonderful because singing was my first love, and I wondered whether I was going to ever get back to it. But I did, and it was the best thing that happened to me, So Quincy Jones and a few other great producers turned my vocal career into something important by finding me the right songs and producing them in a way that lasts forever. Great engineers. So when they changed technology, say for instance, from tape to digital recordings, the quality of the recordings held up very nicely.
Look at the way that your music has grown over the years, and you look back and you see "Greatest Love of All," and being done by someone like Whitney Houston, and then many years after that, you have the likes of Westlife recreate what you have done many years ago. What feeling do you have, and how do you see this kind of rehashing of something you've done so perfectly, and then something else infused into it?
Well, I think it's important to have an open mind and be susceptible to new ideas. After all, the other person has a point of view too. And I think if you take everything into consideration, especially since you're dealing with people who have been in the music business as long as you have, what they're saying is important. So when I listen to them and I take my own ideas and add to what they're saying, we usually come up with something that is pretty tasty to the ears.
Coming to Nigeria, is this your first trip in Africa? Coming back home, does it feel like you're coming back home?
That happened to me the first time I came to the continent of Africa. A guy came running up to me at the airport, and I said, uh-oh, something is wrong. He hugged me, and he said, "Welcome home, Brother Benson." That's what he said to me. And when that happened, I connected, and I've connected ever since. So now I want to see the rest of Africa. And this is my first visit to Nigeria. They've been here for 25 years, but we never could make the right deal. So we finally found someone who understands where I'm coming from and found me the right audience. And it's been nothing but a joy from the time I landed yesterday.
So what are we expecting tonight? Tonight is the big show, and Lagos is agog, all looking forward to seeing you live, having listened to your music over so many years. I mean, I can just off the top of my head remember some of your pieces, which were just masterpieces.
I'll tell you, what you're saying has to be real, because every time I meet someone, they have nothing but glowing things to say about what effect my music has had on their life and their career. So I met a couple of ladies last night who, it was unbelievable their reaction to meeting me, And I said to myself, it's a good thing my wife isn't here. I would have suffered over something like that. But their intentions were very honorable and straight from a fan's point of view. I mean, very big fan's point of view.
What kind of song? Okay, first I've got two questions, very, very important. One is the fact that a lot of your songs are love songs. They are evergreen. No matter what generation you have in the near future, in the long distance future, they will always enjoy love songs. How do you select the lyrics that you put into music? And then two, what should we expect to hear tonight? The songs that we will be expecting to hear tonight.
Yeah, what you're saying is very important, because the most important songs in my repertoire are the love songs. They seem to last forever, from the first time I recorded them many years ago, such as Nothing's Gonna Change My Love for You, In Your Eyes, Love Times Love, The Greatest Love of All, and Moody's Mood for Love, things like that. They seem to just go on and on. People comment and say nothing but good things about them all the time.
So are we going to hear those tonight? Are we going to hear plenty of love songs tonight?
Definitely.
2020 vision.
Rehearse it and see if we can come up with it for tonight.
One on channels, all the viewers of channels television all around Nigeria and all around the world, because we're live on the internet, we're being seen everywhere in the world. Now, if you have to give us one song, something for us to take away and say, definitely I want more of this tonight, which one would it be, George?
Oh, I see. The one I would give you would be called Love Ballad. It's one of my favorite songs in my repertoire. I mean, I work hard, but the point is connecting to the audience, and that song does it very well.
Now, just a few words of it. Can we enjoy the first verse, the second chorus, something?
What do you mean? You want me to haul off a few notes, you mean?
That.
Please.
We're begging.
That's just a couple of notes.
And we want the words. We want the words too, George. Come on, we'd love the words. The beats, yes, that's good, but can we hear the words?
Well, no, it's a little early for that, to tell you the truth. But I'll save it for tonight. Are you coming to my show?
George, yes, we will be coming, but those who will not be able to make it would have loved to hear a few words in terms of the lyrics.
Or you're thinking about there I go, there I go, there I go. Pretty baby, you are the soul who snaps my control. That's enough of that. It's too early for that stuff.
Not ready to sing yet. Okay. You had a show in London in June. How was that?
Oh, fantastic. We always perform at one of two places in London, either Royal Albert Hall or Wembley Arena. And they're both great places to play, and they're always packed to the brim like that.
So you had great shows there, and you're hoping to have a great show in Nigeria tonight, in Lagos tonight.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, we want to say thank you very much. If you have to look back into, just before you go, George, yes, if you have to look into the music industry today, you probably would have heard some of the Nigerian hip hop artists and those who are singing rhythm and blues, soul, funk, and even some who are playing jazz. Have you listened to anyone that stands out for you?
I haven't heard a lot of them yet because I'm not in this part of the world. But I've had some jam sessions with some African musicians, and they weren't lacking anything. They had everything that you would look for in a progressive new musician, young musicians. And I think they're holding it up for this part of the world. So I look forward to playing with them some more.
Tonight you'll be having Lagbaja with you. He will be opening the bill tonight. And you probably haven't listened to a lot of his music, but you will be hearing that tonight. He's one of the best in Nigeria today, or possibly one of the best in Africa. But if you have to give a word of advice to anybody, whether it's in Nigeria or anywhere in the world, who's aspiring to become a legendary musician like yourself, what will be that word of advice to them?
Play what you feel and play what you believe in, and let it come straight from the heart. I think people can communicate with that kind of, that kind of presentation. I think they can feel you, and that's the most important thing, because it's all about communication. And if you can communicate your heart to the next person or the person you're talking to, it'll last a long time.
What's missing from the musicians of your generation who sing from the heart and whose music is often about love, about compassion, about things happening in society and how to make society better and stuff like that? What is it that is missing from that compared to what we have now, where it's a lot more commercial than what it used to be?
I don't know if I understood your question fully, but I can tell you one thing. There are a lot of musicians from different parts of the world who have connected with the R&B and the funk that came out of America and the gospel that came out of... But don't forget, it all originated from here, so it's just coming back this way. So it's collecting energy as it goes around again. And we all benefit from that. We get a chance to experience each other's vibes and artistry and talent. And I think it's good for the whole world that we are now in better communication than we were 30, 40 years ago.
What I'm saying, sorry, it seems you didn't quite get my question. I'll put it another way. The question I'm asking is, music 20, 30, 40 years ago is the kind of music that you listen to and you still want to listen to. The B.B. King of this world, their music will be evergreen. The Flora Fitzgerald of this, the Fitzgerald of this world, their music will be evergreen. What is missing? What's the ingredient that the people of that period, of that era, that they infused into their music that makes it evergreen as compared to what we play now, where a single track will be a big hit and it will only be a big hit for 6 months and then people forget that music ever existed?
Well, every music is the music of its time. It reflects the life and times of the people who are living at that particular time. And don't forget, 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, we were coming out of World War. And people were into killing each other on a large scale, by the millions. And so when they came back home, they were looking for a new reason to live. And music, like all of the arts, inspires people. So they kept coming up with these beautifully lyric songs written by some of the greatest writers of our time. And inspiring new singers coming up who set the tone for what was going to happen the next 50 years. And so you and I were beneficiaries of the beginning of that time period. And we're still benefiting by it. But today's children have a different criteria than we had. A lot of them are beneficiaries of what happened during that time. Their parents might have been very, very poor. And now they live in a society where you can become very, very rich overnight. Music only reflects that lifestyle. And the feelings that they feel in their environment, which is much more cohesive than it was many years ago. They got more places to go. The music business or the industry is blown up completely. You hear music on the way to work, on the way to school. So it's all reflects, in the music that we play.
Okay, George, we want to say thank you very much for sparing the time. We know that you've got to do sound check and a number of other things. We understand there's press conference and a number of other activities lined up for today. So we want to say thank you very much for sparing the time to talk to us this morning.